Now, interestingly, is there something wrong with that? No. But you see, that's the only place many of us have remained eternally. The amen corner. That's all. The amen corner. So the amen helps you to be hypnotized in a certain direction. Your thinking taken away from you. I asked you, 1 + 1, you raise up your hand. You're in primary school, you make mistake and say 3. They shut you down. You now say, no, I will not try again. I always have the wrong answers. And then you were going through school. You were playing in play class. You went to primary 1. They said to you, this is not play class. School has now started. You have to be what? How did you guys know? You went to the same school? I'm getting ready to invite Walter now. You have to be what? Serious. Serious. So they dressed you properly. They talk. I saw my son with uniform. Hey! First day at school. Proper school. Talking. So when he went, they wanted to play like he was, hey! Sit by that desk. They started to restrict you. But we didn't. The school system doesn't understand this. That's why when you go to the countries that are the most advanced with education today, Finland and those countries, in fact, for most of them, at age of 5, 6, the kid is not in school yet. He's in a school called home. He's in a school called home, where nobody even, and hopefully he has empowering parents, not the one that say, "My shelish, shege kawai, then iska, where nani." Ha! Imagine the kind of things we heard. It's a miracle that you are here. It's a miracle that you are in your right mind. That's if you are. Have you been at the bus stop or in traffic and you see some people behave and you're like, hey. It's in Yoruba land that I first learned. Everything started with Ori. Ori. Hey, I didn't say it though. See, some behavior, some words. Somebody comes out with his car with a tire. You hit my car, you're like, hey, okay. Okay. See, because self-sabotage. What he's exhibiting, he is not intentionally exhibiting it. He now drifts. He behaves and then he realizes what he's done already unconsciously. I made decisions unconsciously that I didn't know. I started to act unconsciously. One day I said to my wife, I said to her, I have never beaten you. I've never beaten you. You're lucky to have a husband. It was one of our anniversaries. I was bragging, you know. I was bringing out my laurels, you know what I mean? You know, never beating my wife. Like, true, honestly, she's here. Never. Never. But let me take you a little bit backward. My father used to beat my mother, so I said I would never, ever beat my wife. I'll never beat a woman. My friends used to laugh at me. A Nigerian woman, you have to beat her. This is not Igbo land. These principles don't work here. All these motivational books. See, I saw my father beating my mother and I knew that's not right because it hurts me. I don't know how many of you came from a background like that. It really hurt me. My mom went through so much pain, plus us. You know, people here see me do what I do today. They say to me, wow, you know what? I think you have a calling to be a pastor. And I said to them, Ipa, do you know how many years I've been a pastor? What do pastors do? They help people resolve issues. I've been resolving my father and mother's quarrel for a long time. This pastor work, I started it a long time ago. I'm telling you the truth. Seriously. I will stop them. All my father will beat my mother. I will hate my dad, hate my dad, hate my dad. So one day, years later, telling my friends and them laughing at me, women will deal with you. You're not beat a woman. I went somewhere with my girlfriend and she disappeared. She disappeared and I showed up later. 1 hour later, I didn't know. And you know, those days when you liked a girl, you went out with a girl. I'm talking about the 90s, if anybody's old enough to know. Are there any teenagers here? When you loved a lady, you loved her. When she was hungry, we didn't give her anything. We gave her love. When it was time to do hair, there was no money to give her. You gave her love. When she visited you, there was no transport back. What did you give her? Love and escort. You just gave love. Cheap love. What happened? What happened is we realized that I had become who I had become by watching my father. This girl disappeared and showed up an hour later and said she went to eat. I got upset. Something took over me. You know what took over me? The real me showed up. The real me that I had been suppressing. Who I had become that I didn't know. I pulled out my belt, dragged her to the back of the house where nobody would see me, and I started to beat her up. I beat her up. I scattered my hair, finished all of that. It all happened in a twinkle of an eye. I literally didn't know what happened. I fell down and I started to cry. And I was an adult. Somebody say, I beg, which cry. Or this is when I go beat man, begin cry. Honestly, that was what happened. I beat her up. And I started to cry. I want you to notice something. There was a conflict with my values at the conscious level and at the unconscious level. Consciously, I didn't want to beat. But unconsciously, my values said, if you don't violate this lady today, she'll take you for granted. Did my father ever say to me that this is how it is to treat a woman? No. But every time you saw something or heard something when you were growing up, if you were a baby and you couldn't process what you were hearing or seeing, you filed it away at the unconscious level. Anything you couldn't handle or interpret, you filed it away. Anything that you didn't understand, because see, at a very early age 0, age 1, at some point your problem is food and play and milk. So anything that happens that you don't understand, we'll deal with this later. You file it away. My father beating my mother, I didn't understand. I filed it away. But what I didn't know is what I filed away was the file called How to Treat a Woman. Then you grow up. You say, I will not beat a woman, but you're saying it consciously. At the unconscious level, you have a file. When you enter office, files are on the table and files are in the cabinet. Which files are usually more? You see the reason for the 95. There are more stuff in the cabinet. So every year you say, this is what I want. This is what I desire. My marriage is going to change. This is what I'm going to do. You are writing it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want you to know, doing that all consciously. It's only in 5%. That you have become who you've become with certain behaviors and certain ways of thinking. In fact, many of us want to change the behavior, but we don't realize that what we need to change is our way of thinking at the unconscious level. And once you can change that way of thinking, that way of learning, that way of believing, that things would also begin to happen because there will be congruence. See, congruence is now when you have integrity. Conscious agrees with the unconscious. That's integrity. It's not necessarily about lying and dishonesty. It's integrity, integer, that this part and this part merged. They are one. There's no Akan in the camp. That is what was happening when those people left a country called Igbibch. Remember Igbibch? They left Igbibch for years, generations. They had been slaves. Slaves for 400 plus years had become slaves in their thinking. Slaves in their thinking. See, our parents just tell us, if you want to succeed, go to school, go to school, go to school. That had been ingrained in them. We are telling our children, want to succeed, go to school, go to school. Check all the people. The other day, most of us are looking for money, but the people who have more money is not the people who went to school. Else, the professors will be the wealthiest. I was watching a video yesterday. One of the guys gave a young boy was something of 10 million, the musician. Have you seen that video? I was like, what? In the twinkle of an eye, nothing. That boy, I don't think he went to school, went to school. Okay? Look at Zuckerberg and all of these people. Saying school is not important, don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. See, I can speak some English, so you know, I went to some small school, okay? So, but the point here is consciously, unconsciously, not in agreement, not in tandem, no congruence, no alignment, no agreement. Consciously, I want to go here. Unconsciously, you've become. That's what happens. You became a Christian, you became a serious Muslim. If all things are, if a man is whatever, all things have become new. All things are passed away, and yet you continue to experience defeat. Why? Because you didn't understand that there's a Romans 12, 1 and 2, and there is a Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart. You shall meditate day and... Why did they have to... These people had been slaves for donkey years. Slaves. They were a place where a vision of the future had been given them. You will go to a land flowing with milk and honey. For you to disrupt what you've always known, you have to disrupt your level of imagination, curiosity. So curiosity was created and then say, see, there is literally no place where milk and honey flows. Literally, no place like that. But it was taking, what, milk and honey? Slaves. milk and honey. Slaves, milk and honey. How? Curiosity, birth in these people. So they said, okay, finally, they were persuaded. And the roadblocks were removed. Pharaoh was convinced they were moving. Soon after they left the borders on the shores of Egypt. Sorry, before somebody says this guy can't pronounce Egypt. Soon after they left, they saw a crowd of dust. Pharaoh and his armies. Egypt's way of thinking kicked in quickly. You are imagining it's Egypt, right? Egypt's way of thinking kicked in, and they started saying, were there no graves in Egypt? Were there no graves? And that began the story of 40 years of murmuring, complaining, and grumbling. Even the one who was to lead them was frustrated and swallowed by Egypt's way of thinking. That on the verge of entry, when they were hearing the instructions, this book of the Lord shall not depart, a new generation had emerged. Spies were sent. Most of them said, we are not able. We are like grasshopper. That's what we used to call my agric teacher. He used to call it grasshopper. We are like grasshopper. We will not be able to enter. And what happened, listen, gentlemen? It is recorded of the generation that left Egypt, not one, apart from Caleb and Joshua, not one made it. You cannot enter Canaan with Egypt's way of thinking. Most of us here have become like Egypt. You know what Egypt represents? It's a metaphor for your past career, your past with money. And your past is everything up until this moment before you stepped into this place this weekend. Before you started watching that live stream. Egypt is everything that you have known. If everything that you have known has not given you what you want, then what you really need is not what you know. This weekend, we want you to get rid of what you know. Who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah. Is everything that you've known has brought you to where you are and you are dissatisfied with where you are, then what you really know isn't what you have known. Because what you have known is disempowering. You need to reimagine a future that is new, that is brilliant, that is more compelling, that is filled with you taking massive action and empowering yourself, your career, your finances, your relationships, your marriage, your business. And then on this verge, he said to them, this book of the law shall not. Because he was saying, look, if you want to get to Canaan and to succeed there, Egypt has to give way to what is contained in this book of the law. You cannot be conformed to this world, but be transformed by what? It says, see, all things have become new. It's not like that. You have a new slate to start life, but the old will keep standing in the way. The things that I want to do, I end up not doing. Have you heard that before? Self-sabotage. What I really do not want to do, I find myself doing. Self-sabotage. Cool. Rebellion. See, if you want change to happen, it must happen deep, at the deep, deep level. It's not where you hear deep, deep revelation and you are saying, deep, deep. This meeting is not writing deep, deep things. It's for you to allow yourself to understand the self-sabotaging patterns deep down in your life and to allow what you're hearing here, the pointers, the understanding, the paradigms, the shifts that we will have with neuro-linguistics programming begin to guide you to understand how you can be in one place. Some of us are too scattered. Be in one place. Too scattered. Be in one place. Too scattered. Come on. Be in one place. Have unison of purpose. Have congruence. Remove the conflicts in your own life, in your own career, in your own finances, in your own understanding, in your own paradigms, in your relationships, in your communication. You say one thing, but then people hear the other. Why? Because you are self-sabotaging. There's too much rebellion. I want people who are here, who are saying, I am sold out, I'm committed to this new path. I came here for a purpose. That purpose will not fail. I will accomplish it. I'm courageous enough to confront my fears and to deal with the things I've been afraid to deal with. I must move forward. Is that you I'm talking about? Say I. Come on, is that you? Say I. Absolutely. Listen, gentlemen. This weekend is your day. Stand up. You remember that thing we did in primary school? My head, my shoulders, my knees, my toes, my head, my shoulders. Remember that? Do you remember that? Come on, put down your writing material. Have your hands free. Let's do it together. Put your writing stuff. Put your phones away. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it together, everybody. Okay? However, we're going to do it the opposite of it. We're going to start from down. Okay? My feet, my knee, my shoulder, my head, my... You remember that? Oh, let's go together. 3, 2, go. My feet. My toes, my knees. My toes. It's all part of the unlearning ritual. Oh, let's go again. They all belong to me. My toes, my head, my shoulder, my knees, my toes. Come on, follow me. My shoulder. They are. Come on, let's do it again. My head, my toes, my knees, my shoulders, my head, my toes, my knees, my shoulder, my toe. Eh? They all belong. Even the teacher is getting confused. Give 2 people a double high five. Say to them, I'm loving this class. Give them a double high five. I'm loving this class. When you are done, put your hands together for what? Come on, put your hands together.
All right, can we get seated, everybody? No, they can't hear you. Are we happy being here? Yes. I think that was like 52%. Let's make it 100%. Are we happy being here? Yes. Please, can you judge? Is that up to 70? Not yet. Okay, so let's make it 100. Are we happy being here? Yes. Yeah, that looks a lot more like it. Some people will not say anything no matter what I say. Fantastic. That's also a pattern. Is that okay? So the question we're going to be asking you is, where else in life is that showing up? Because this is a place where you're supposed to come here and have what? Fun. We're supposed to push what? Boundaries. Push through boundaries. What's been stopping you? What's been limiting you? What's making your voice not to be expressed? Because this is that one opportunity where we're saying, let's make it 100%. By saying yes, and you're not participating. Are you ready to participate now? Okay, so are we happy being here? Yes. Wow, that's good. That's good. Okay, I'm going to be talking quickly around one of the foundations, one of the main reasons why we're here to push through boundaries. And it's basically about something that has changed a lot around me, for me, and for people who I stay with, who I work with. And it's not just doing that for us, it's doing that for so many other people who are coming into this experience, especially here with us at the Innocent Minds. And this thing is so powerful. It's not something really strange, just like you heard Mr. Osa sharing a lot today. It's not something strange, it's something you even heard before. But there's one secret. Everybody say one secret. There's one particular secret, and that secret is one of the key things we're going to be studying about it. A great man once said, everybody can walk on water. But there's one particular thing that person would need to know. What do you think that person would need to know? For everybody to walk on water, what would that body need to know? Where the stone is. Now that man said where the stones are. Now I don't know what stones for you. But for people who are saying, in my relationship, in my business, in my education, in my pursuits of life, I'm finding it difficult to push through certain boundaries. The question I'm going to ask you today is, have you identified the stones? Because that is also your own kind of water. And so today, I'll be talking about neuro-linguistics programming. Let's say NLP. NLP simply means what? Neuro-linguistics programming. And people will always ask me for definitions. And for me, I think NLP is something that the biggest definition you will have of it is your experience of it. You have a lot of people committed to coming around to invest a lot in themselves and say, I'm going to spend 1 week to understand not just the foundations of NLP like we're going to have this weekend, but I want to go deeper. Because, as I was saying, I used to hear before, I don't know where, was it around church or somewhere? The deep collect onto the wall. The deep. You know, if you are looking for deep end results, then you should be calling what? To deep end results. So, I'll be talking about NLP. Now, the first time I experienced NLP, for me, it was a bit funny. Because I heard about NLP from Mr. Usa, and I also was able to do a little research. And going on, how many of us have researched NLP before we came here? If you ever did before. Good. Now, I don't really know how your experience was, but for me, the first part I went to was something called natural language processing. Did it happen to anybody? I know it won't happen because I'm unique. Good. So I saw NLP, natural language processing, and I started reading it, and I studied the course. Started thinking, going on the course, and I realized there was nothing around it that could help me in the area of personal development and other things, until I was able to realize that there was a different thing called what? NLP, and it was neuro-linguistics what? Programming. And there my journey began. Studying neuro-linguistics programming and also now training in neuro-linguistics programming, I began to realize a lot around this particular thing. So pay attention to this. I was having this communication with someone some weeks ago. This is an elderly person, someone I respect a lot. And we're having this communication, and he was telling me how around the late 70s, that's 1970s. Remember 1970s? God, we need to remember those times. Okay, so the late 1970s, I mean, he was one of those, at least few big boys, working class big boys in Nigeria. He was earning close to 300 naira. You know, come on, that was big cash. Yeah, that was big cash. 300 naira, late 70s, you know. That was a big boy. Good, because they told me then to buy a car, you just needed like 5K. Is that right? A saloon. Is that right? Around the 1980s, yeah. You just need 5K. So he's like still earning 300,000 now and needing 5 million to buy a Lexus. Is that exciting? So that's the level he was. So he was quite comfortable and everything. And so he was talking about a lot around how he was able to make decisions and so many other things. And in that conversation, something touched me. Please pay attention. I'm building towards something. Are we excited? Good. So I was building, in that conversation,